and continue. These controls should be used with care. Under many circumstances, they can be very difficult to debug, and their use often indicates flawed logic. On the other hand, especially with break and continue, there are circumstances when they are entirely appropriate and expected. Let's start with goto. Let's make a working copy of goto.c, and we'll paste it in the working project and double-click on it to open it up. Here you see we have a label, which looks like that. It's a token with a colon after it, and it's the only thing on a line. It's not a statement. It's simply a label. And we have a goto statement, which targets that label. It says goto, and then the name of the label, which in this case is target. So what will happen here is the goto statement is basically an unconditional branch. When the execution encounters the goto statement, it will simply skip to the target. So this printf will never be executed. We'll get before the goto and we'll get after the target, but we will not get after the goto. So let's go ahead and compile and run this, and you see before the goto and after the target. So that's simple. Like I said, you're not going to need it very often. You're rarely actually going to need it. When you do need it, you're going to think twice, 3 times. And if you find that your logic is actually sound and this goto is the best way to do it, then you'll comment it really good and you'll use it, and that's how it works. The break statement is used in loops. It will branch to the end of the current loop or switch control, and execution will continue after the loop. It will not continue the loop. So let's take a look at this. We'll go ahead and delete these lines, and we'll create a simple for loop. So those are a simple for loop, and it'll print 10 lines, and it'll count 0 to 9. So we'll go ahead and save that and run it, and you see there's our 10 lines. I'm using my little scroll wheel here, and that's what they look like. Now, if we want to, we could break out of this. We could say, if I equals 5, break. And so now it will only print 1 through 4, and when it sees 5, it'll actually end the loop prematurely. So we'll save this and run it, and there we are, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and when it gets to 5, it breaks. Break is most commonly used in switch controls, and you'll see a good example of that in the lesson on switch in this chapter. On the other hand, if we use continue instead of break, what continue does is it goes back to the top of the control. It will skip everything after the continue in the block and go back to the top of the control. So in this case, what it'll do is it'll print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, because when it sees 5, it'll skip everything after the continue, which is this printf, the body of the loop, and it'll go ahead and continue with the loop. So we'll save that and run it, and there you see we have it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So just skipping that one iteration, but it continues with the loop. So these branching controls are an important part of the C language, but they should really rarely be used. Most of the time they're unnecessary and even problematic, but when you need them, it's important to